Are you looking to play your wildcard in Game Week 10? Or maybe you just want to see my opinion on what I think the best team in the game right now looks like? Well, I've got a wildcard draft just for you. All right, before I get into it, I just wanted to say, if you enjoy the content on my channel, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe. I'm closing in on 10k subscribers. I'd absolutely love if I could reach that by the end of the year. I think around 75% of people that are watching my videos at the moment aren't subscribed. It's totally free. Just click a button. That's all I ask in return, and I like rating as well for watching this content, or for this content that I bring you. Okay, so goalkeeper and defenders then. I've actually got a couple of drafts I'm going to take you through. A couple of different ways that you could play it. But this team, I've gone for Flecken, Aït-Nouri, Lewis and Guardiola. Flecken, you could choose other goalkeepers at around this price point. And what I've tried to do with this team is pick it in a way that it's affordable for everyone. So absolutely everyone in FPL should be able to afford this team, regardless of like the financial position that you're currently in. So if you're sitting on a little bit of extra cash when you build this team, perhaps you could upgrade Flecken to someone like, I don't know, Jordan Pickford, for example. I think Jordan Pickford is probably, in my opinion, going to be one of the top scoring goalkeepers in the game, because he kind of ticks all the boxes of a good goalkeeper. He keeps a good amount of clean sheets and makes consistent saves, whereas Flecken keeps consistent saves, but Brentford are yet to actually keep a clean sheet. So, and there are other options at this price point as well. So, you know, if you don't think Flecken is the best goalkeeper at this price point, I'm not going to get annoyed at all. So feel free to pick differently there. I've gone with Flecken because of the good fixtures he's got coming up, and the expected points have him as one of the top goalkeepers in the game still. But if your opinion's different, go for someone else. You know, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. Aït-Nouri, he's on 4 yellows, so I think if you're picking Aït-Nouri, you probably want to go for someone else on your bench. You can see there I've gone for Mazwari of Man United. The fixtures get a little bit better for Man United. They're going to have a new manager soon. I think things will change a little bit for them. Rico Lewis, I think at 4.8 million, the risk of him not starting is probably worth it. He's the cheapest Man City defender in the game. And Pep is literally saying in press conferences that he cannot drop Rico Lewis at the moment. So we all know what that means, right? He's probably going to get dropped. But, you know, taking Pep for his word suggests that, you know, he's going to be in the team consistently. Then Guardiola, he is a little bit of an injury doubt. He had treatment after the Tottenham game midweek in the Carabao Cup. I think it was only something really minor, though. I think he's going to be fine for Game Week 10. So I've gone for him. You know, the upside, Man City, decent defensively. Got good fixtures coming up. And also, he is just amazing from an attacking perspective, right? And I think for 6.2 million, you can't really do any better. All right, then. The midfield of this team. And like I said, I've got a couple of drafts here. But with this midfield, I've gone absolutely huge. So I've gone Salah, Palmer, Saka, Son, and Mbeumo. Son, little bit of a doubt for Game Week 10. I personally think he'll be fine. And then Mbeumo as well. I think these are the 5 best midfielders in the game, right? And also, I think if they're the 5 best midfielders in the game, why wouldn't you pick them? So that was the logic for this team, really. I don't really need to think I need to sell anyone on these players to be completely honest with you. You know, there's an obvious reason why I've picked them all, right? They're the best midfielders in the game. So I'm not actually going to say any more here. I've just absolutely stacked the midfield in this draft. So up front, I've gone for Raul Jimenez and Yoane Wissa. Again, I've tried to keep this team as like budget conscious as possible. So I've picked 2 cheap strikers that allow you to basically build a team for less than 100 million. Again, you might have a bit more cash in the bank when you build a team like this. So you might be able to upgrade one of these guys. And what I've done here is just pulled off a list of the top cheap forwards in the game over the next 5 game weeks. So I've sorted them 6.5 million and below. Chris Wood and Cunha are the top 2, but obviously they're a little bit, quite a bit more expensive than the likes of Wissa and Raul Jimenez. There isn't a whole lot to split them in terms of points. You can see there's literally 1.2 expected points in it between the top 4 players here, right? So, you know, not a whole lot to split it in terms of points, but there is a little bit of gap in terms of price. So what I've done here is try to pick a team that everyone can afford. But, you know, if you want to go for Wood or Cunha, you know, 2 penalty takers for their respective teams, then you can obviously go for that. But I just tried to make this team as like inclusive and as affordable for anyone. One thing I really like about this team is that it gets, according to Fantasy Football Hub, and by the way, if you want to see AI team ratings for yourself, you know, predicted points for the next 3 game weeks of all the players you pick in your team, etc. The kind of view you have here, you can sign up for Fantasy Football Hub. There's a link in the description below. But yeah, this team gets a 100% AI rating. I don't think I've ever shown a team on this channel before that's had a 100% AI rating. One thing I did want to go through was just, there's obviously a player missing in this team, right? And that's Erling Haaland. And the next draft I'm going to show you has him in it. And I think the decision, it's a big decision, right? To decide whether you want to include Erling Haaland in your team or not. And I'm accommodating for both because personally, I'm an absolute fence sitter on this one, but I don't think there's a right answer to it. I think the question of whether you have Erling Haaland in your fantasy team or not is dependent on how often you would captain him. And I think there are 5 players in the game at the moment that I would genuinely consider to be captaincy options. Those being Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Son and Saka, right? These are, in my opinion, the 5 best players in the game and the 5 players that I would genuinely consider a captaincy for. They're the talisman for their respective teams, leading the way in terms of expected goals and assists this season so far, and they all take penalties, right? So, the decision on whether you pick Haaland in your team, like I said, comes down to captaincy. And I think game weeks 10 and 11, there is a genuine case that you could captain Erling Haaland in those games, right? Definitely a genuine case that you could. Bournemouth and Brighton, especially Brighton without Lewis Dunk in their team. Bournemouth, you can't tell me that Bournemouth are the most solid defence in the world, right? So, you know, there's every chance that he scores in those games. But there are genuine captaincy alternatives each week. So game week 10, Salah has Brighton at home. Game week 11, Son has Ipswich at home. Game week 12, and Haaland plays Tottenham. Although I don't actually think Tottenham is a bad fixture. Salah's got Southampton away and Palmer's got Leicester away. So I do think that's a better fixture than Tottenham. And then come game week 13, Haaland and Salah play each other. So obviously, Haaland has Liverpool away. Salah has Man City at home. Palmer's got Villa. Son and Saka have got Fulham and West Ham. So those two are genuinely, well, and also Palmer, those 3 are, you know, genuine captaincy alternatives. Game week 14, Haaland's got Nottingham Forest at home, which isn't the easiest fixture. You know, Forest are, I think, the 4th or 5th best defence, trying to get words out there, 5th best defence in the league for, like, expected goals conceded. Whereas Palmer's got Southampton away. And then come game week 15, Haaland's got Crystal Palace away, Salah's got Everton away. So there's a bit of a toss-up in captaincy there, but you'd probably suggest that Haaland is the best, you know, captain. But if you want to make an argument that way, I think it's genuine. But, you know, over those next 5 game weeks, I think there's a case that there are other players you could captain as an alternative to Haaland, which, you know, would make me question, do you need Erling Haaland in your team? And I imagine you're asking yourself that question as well. So hopefully what I've just gone through there will help you decide whether you're going to pick Haaland or not. Sorry, I've had a really long day at work today. I recorded this video at like 7:30 at night. I'm quite tired. I'm slipping over my words a little bit. I do apologise. So the team with Haaland in it then looks a little bit like this. So if you pick this team, you can upgrade your goalkeeper and you can have Chris Wood, who is the leading cheap striker in your team. But of course, you can't have Saka in the midfield. So I've gone for Pickford in goal. Like I said, I think Everton's fixtures are pretty good. With Branthwaite coming back into the team, I think we'll see similar sort of defensive numbers to what they put up last season. And last season, Jordan Pickford was the top scoring goalkeeper in the game, right? Guardiola, Aït-Nouri, Lewis, the same back 3 as the previous team, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about them. Salah, Palmer, and Mbumo and Rodgers in midfield. So you're missing 2, basically. You're missing both Son and Saka here that the other team did have, but it does allow you to get Haaland back into your team. Alongside Raul Jimenez, who I think at 5.7 million, by the way, is incredible value. He's put up nearly 1 expected goal involvement in literally every game he started this season so far. And I think with Andreas Pereira missing the last penalty that Fulham had, I think there's a real case that Raul Jimenez could be on penalties for them. So at 5.7 million, great fixtures coming up. I think he's a great option. And then I've picked Chris Wood because I still think he's probably the best cheap striker in the game. You know, again, if you disagree, you could go for someone like Cunha. He's also got relatively tough fixtures coming up as well. He's got Arsenal away and Man City away mixed in his next sort of 5 games. So you could make an argument you could do better just based on the fixtures. But I'm trusting in a man that's delivered for me in the game so far, and that's Chris Wood. And you know, this is the kind of team you could pick if you have Haaland in it. So I'll just go back. This is, oh, that's the wrong screen. This is the no Haaland team. So the big 5 in midfield, basically, with Raul Jimenez and Wissa up front. And this is a team with Haaland. A decent 4 in midfield, I would say, with Haaland, Raul, Raul Jimenez in wood up front. So couple of wildcard drafts there for you. Alright, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. I just wanted to put up a little bonus video, basically. I wasn't expecting to be home in time to record a video on Thursday evening, so yeah, a little bit of a surprise. I just thought I'd put together a quick wildcard draft while I was on the train home and make a video out of it, so that's what I did. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments what you think of those two drafts, which one you prefer, if there's any players you chop and change, etc. And I'll be interested to hear that in the comments. Yeah, I think that's everything. If you enjoyed the video and want to stick around and see more content from me, you can subscribe to the Golden Goal channel. There should be a button just there on your screen. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go to bed now. I'll catch you in the next video.